and parasites. So some of the common STIs, viruses, the viral STIs are herpes. You all ever heard about herpes? Yes. Right. HIV, I know you all heard about HIV before. And HPV, or human papillomavirus. And the thing about the viral STIs have no cure. There is no cure for it. So if you have a viral STI, you have it for the rest of your life, right? There is no cure for it. And then you have the bacterial STIs, which are chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis. And those have cures, but you have to have it treated for it to not cause long-term effects, right? And then we have the parasitic ones, which is trichomoniasis. Now let's look at herpes for a second. Now I had an updated PowerPoint with some more pictures, but unfortunately that one is not opening today, right? So you're not getting the more graphic pictures, but still we work with the ones that we have. So herpes. There are two types of herpes. Yes. So you all see in the picture. There are two types of herpes. There's herpes type 1, which is oral herpes, and that usually you have blisters around your mouth, inside of the mouth, around the sides and corners of your mouth. You may have blisters with that one. And then there's type 2 herpes, which is genital herpes, and that one you have blisters in, around the penis and the vagina. Now, the thing with herpes, let's go to the next slide. So, with herpes, you have outbreaks or flares, and these flares usually start off as some water-like looking blisters, right? So you have some blisters that they look like water bumps, and they are usually very painful, itchy, right? And sometimes they will burst, and then it will ooze a little bit.
Hello, Miss. Just now, sorry for the interruption. Students, information is being brought to you for your benefit. You need to be quiet, be attentive, and learn. Their time to talk is not now. Listen.
All right. So the blisters usually will burst, and then it will ooze a little bit, right? But it usually is very painful. So a lot of the patients, I had a 15-year-old who came into the clinic and she was walking with her legs open and she couldn't sit because she had so many of these blisters all over her genital area, right? And this is how the first outbreak of herpes happens. It's usually the worst and it's usually very painful. Now you can get herpes from your first sexual encounter. So it doesn't mean that you have to have sex with plenty of people for you to get herpes. All it takes for you to get herpes is to have sex with somebody who has it, right? So your age does not prevent you from getting it. Now, most persons who have herpes, however, don't have signs in the beginning. So last week I had a patient who came and she was like, no, but he doesn't have anything, and this was my first time, and da, da, da. And I was like, yeah, but you got herpes, so that means he has it too, right? But there's no symptoms. She didn't see any blisters, she didn't see any sores. So she said she thought everything was okay because she didn't see anything. But he had herpes, and now she was the one there with all of these blisters and sores all over her genital area, right? Now, herpes, the name is herpes simplex virus. What did I say about viruses before? They have no cure. So if you have herpes, you have it for the rest of your life, right? There is no cure. Herpes can also spread, and if you're concerned, herpes can spread to your babies. So for people, when you get older and you are pregnant and having your child, herpes could spread to your child as well, right? Also, you can get herpes through oral sex. And I know you all know what oral sex is because when you all do come, when young persons come to the clinic, you all know everything. So we're not assuming you all don't know, right? So herpes can be shared, or all STIs rather, can be transmitted through all forms of sexual intercourse, and oral sex is also sexual intercourse, right? Now, next we will move on to HPV, or human papillomavirus. Now, I gave an example of a 15-year-old earlier, and I told you she had something growing on her genital area, right, her vagina. She had HPV, which is human papillomavirus. Now, HPV is the most common sexually transmitted infection. There are over 100 strains of HPV, and I don't know how well you all could see it in the picture, but you all could see this person has these little growths on the penis, right? All right. So, all right, okay, let's settle down. Yes, so these growths are warts. They are called warts, right? Now, HPV, as I said before, there are over 100 strains. Some strains cause warts, which are these growths, but some strains also cause cancer. So if you ever heard about a female having cervical cancer, that came from HPV, which is a sexually transmitted infection. So contracting HPV, if you contract one of the strains that causes cancer, you are at risk of having cervical cancer, which is cancer of the cervix, anal cancer, and also throat cancer. You ever heard that? You can get throat cancer as well. So from performing oral sex, all of these things, you could get cancer of the throat from human papillomavirus, the strains that cause cancer. Now, some strains cause cancer, some strains cause warts, and you could have multiple strains at one time, right? Let me go to the next slide. And you all could see here some more pictures of HPV. And the thing about HPV is it could be spread through skin-to-skin contact. So you may not have sex with the person, but if you're rubbing up, you could get it too, right? Right. So you see in the warts there on the person's genital area. So while the warts are not life-threatening, they can grow bigger over time. And HPV, as I said, it's human papillomavirus, so that means there is no cure, right? So the viruses have no cure, so there's no cure for this infection. But you can treat the warts. They could be treated, and the doctor could have them removed or put medication on it to prevent them from getting bigger, but they could always come back. So there's no way for us to stop you from getting these growths all over your genitals, right? There is no cure for the virus that causes the warts, but you can prevent the warts from coming a little more frequently if you live a healthy lifestyle, right? Now, to the cancers. Now, the most common sign, as I said before, HPV, some of the strains cause cancer, right? And one of those cancers is cervical cancer. And even though, yes, some people might think you all are young, so it may not be a case that you are having sex. But if you are, once you are sexually active, you should be doing pap smears. The reason, even if you're young, right? So what is a pap smear? A pap smear is a test that you would go to the doctor for, where we take some of the cells from inside the vagina in the cervix and look for cancer. That is because HPV causes cervical cancer, right? So if you are 16, 15, 17, let a parent or a guardian know that you are sexually active and have them. I know that. Okay, all right. So I understand there's a lot that comes into disclosing that information to your parent or guardian, right? But at the same time, which one do you prefer, right? If you have this infection and you catch it too late, you will what? You'll die. You will die. So the best thing to do is to do what? To let somebody, if you know that you are sexually active, you should let a parent or guardian know so that they could take you for testing, right? So that's HPV. Also for males, and I know this is a quite controversial and taboo thing to talk about, but young children are coming to us after and getting sexually transmitted infections after anal intercourse as well. So I will mention it, and I have to mention it, that you are at greater risk of getting an STI from anal intercourse than any other form of intercourse. Just putting that out there, right? So you all need to know these things, right? Next thing we look at is HIV. So I have no pictures for HIV. And I said, thank God. I have no pictures for HIV, but why? Yes, because it has no symptoms. So you may be sitting next to somebody and they have HIV and you will never know. Right? You may be standing, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your friend. There is no way for you to tell if somebody has HIV. Now, HIV is not spread through touch. So I'm not expecting you to scorn anybody because of that. I am just letting you know. Yes. I'm letting you know that there are no symptoms for HIV. So you cannot tell if somebody has HIV just by looking at them, right? There is no way for you to know. Now, HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus. There are no specific signs for HIV. HIV attacks your immune system, and your immune system is what helps to prevent you from getting diseases and infections. So when HIV attacks your immune system, then your body is unable to fight common things like the cold and that kind of thing, right? It can't fight common infections. There is no current or effective cure for HIV, but with proper care, persons with HIV can live long and healthy lives, right? So most persons who get HIV get it through anal sex or vaginal sex by sharing needles or syringes or drug injection equipment. And if left untreated, HIV can lead to AIDS, right? And AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This is what happens when you have HIV that is not treated, right? So AIDS is the late stage of HIV that occurs when your body's immune system is so badly damaged because of the virus that the slightest infection causes you to be very ill. And it also could lead to your death, right? So how do you know if you have HIV if there are no symptoms for HIV? How will you know? You have to get tested, yes, right? You have to get tested. So if you are sexually active now, as I said before, what should you do? Let your parent or guardian know that you are sexually active so that they can take you for testing. Now, I'll give you a story. About 2 weeks ago, I had a 17-year-old come to me in the clinic. Come to us at the clinic, actually, because his father brought him because he was concerned that he was sexually active. The father found out he told his father, I guess after conversation, that he was sexually active. And his dad brought him to get tested for the STIs in general. So he came, and after speaking to him, we were informed, well, he told us that he has had sex once in his life, with a student from his school. And that happened 1 year ago, right? He had sexual intercourse 1 year ago with a student from his school. At the end of that session, after I did testing, I had to inform him that he was HIV positive. This is a 17-year-old who had sex once with a student from his school. So don't be under the impression that we are all young, like we in school, we young, we not out there. So I can't get a STI from somebody who is the same age as me or somebody who goes to the same school as me. You cannot tell if somebody has HIV by just looking at them. There are no signs, there are no symptoms. With most of these STIs, you will never be able to tell by just looking at the person all the time, right? So the only way to know is to get a test. So if you are sexually active, I would advise you to let your parents or guardian know and discuss with. I know some parents or guardians, they don't think beyond the immediate, right? So some of them may just want to, rile up because you are sexually active, but let them know that you are concerned about your health and you would want to get tested, right? Right. So HIV, as I said, it's a virus, so that means there is no cure, right? So now we're going to move on to some of the STIs that are caused by bacteria. These do have cures because they are antibiotics that we can give, although for some of them we are seeing now that we are having some persons who the antibiotics are not working well for, right? So you should be even more concerned. So first we'll start off with chlamydia. So chlamydia is caused by a bacteria, as I said before, and most persons who have chlamydia have no symptoms, right? But some persons may have an abnormal discharge. So what is a discharge? A discharge is anything that comes out of your genital area, so whether it be the penis or the vagina, right? A discharge that is other than what is normal. So not urine, right? But it is an abnormal substance that comes out of the genital area, right? So some persons have an abnormal discharge. Some people describe it as being white. Some people describe it as being clear. And they also have burning when they pass urine. So every time you go to pee, you feel a burning, like it burns, it's painful. Also, in males, it may cause pain and swelling in one or both of your testicles. But that's a little less common symptom, right? So chlamydia, next slide. I don't know how well you all could see that. Right? But chlamydia has a cure. So if you are able to get tested for it, if you go and get tested, or if you have symptoms and you see a doctor, they can give you medication to get rid of the infection, right? So that's chlamydia. The next one we'll go to is gonorrhea. And another name, or the common name that when these young males come to the clinic, they usually say, "Doc, I think I have run-ins," right? That's what they call it. So gonorrhea or run-ins is another STI that is caused by a bacteria. And some persons with gonorrhea have no symptoms at all. But for other persons, they may have a white, a yellow, or a green discharge from the penis or the vagina. And the reason why they call it run-ins is because it keeps coming. So For a lot of them, they will come to the clinic with their penis wrapped up in a whole, it looks like they take the whole roll of toilet paper and wrap it up. Some of them come with it in a bag inside the pants because it is dripping. It literally is dripping out of their penis, right? And for females, they see the same thing. You have this discharge that is constantly coming out of the genital area. And most of the times, it looks just like the picture there. You see the person's finger. It looks like snot or coal coming out of your nose. So that's how it looks, right? Coming out of their genital area. Now, what are the symptoms of gonorrhea or run-ins? I did tell you all that I have some pictures. Yes. So, you can see the discharge there. And it also causes a burning when you are passing urine. You all need to see the pictures because if it happens to you, you need to know that you need to go to see a doctor, right? So yes, it causes burning when you pass urine, and it could also cause you to have pain or swelling in your testicles, right? So, gonorrhea is caused by a bacteria, as I said before, and the bacterial STIs, we do have antibiotics that could cure them or get rid of them. But when it becomes a problem is when you do not come to get treated. So some young persons, they are at home, they don't want their parents to know they're having sex. As I had a client before, he doesn't want his mother to know he's having sex, but he is having this running discharge coming out of his penis every day. He's having burning when he's passing urine. And he doesn't want to tell his mother because he doesn't want to deal, if somebody said die, but he doesn't want to deal with the consequences of his mother finding out. However, he has the infection, so he needs to get treated. And he had sex with another young girl as well. So both of them need to come to get treated. The thing is, if you don't treat a STI, it could go on to cause problems, and problems that could be permanent for some people. So for girls and females, think about it. You may have sex with this person when you're young, you're 16, you're 17, and this person gives you gonorrhea or chlamydia. If you do not get it treated, you ignore the symptoms because you don't want your mother to know, you don't get it treated, and then you start having symptoms of something we call PID, which is where the infection now spreads, not from your vagina, but it spreads up to the lower belly, right? And then you start having pain in the belly, severe pain on your belly, hurting and it cramping. And then they don't take that on either. That infection could spread to your fallopian tubes, which is where the egg usually passes from. So just generally, if you don't treat a STI, it could prevent you from being able to have children when you get older. So we have a lot of females who come and they're trying to get pregnant and they can't get pregnant, women, and they're 30-something years old, and it's because of an infection they would have gotten from when they were 16, 17, that was not treated, and now it blocked up their tubes, so they can't get pregnant, right? So it is important that you get tested and treated for these STIs if you are sexually active. Now we'll move on to syphilis. Syphilis is another bacterial STI, and there are 3 stages mainly of syphilis. Now these pictures are graphic, but you all need to see them. So the primary stage of syphilis, or the early stage of syphilis, you have a sore that comes up on your genital area. So for the boys, you may have a sore on the penis. Females, you may have a sore in or around the vagina. And this sore is usually not painful. So it's not painful, it doesn't hurt, it's not tender, it's just there, but it's not painful, right? And eventually that sore will go away. Then it moves on to secondary syphilis, which is where, as you look there, you'll ever, well, I wouldn't tell you to look for, well, you should. But you ever notice somebody with black spots in their hand or dark spots in their hand? That is a sign of secondary syphilis, right? So that's one of the symptoms. So you may have these dark spots in the palm of the hand or even under the sole of your feet, right? So if they look under their feet, they have these black spots all under their feet. Also, these persons may have a rash all over the belly, all over their body. And they may have a rash, they may have fever as well. And some people, their hair starts to thin out, and their hair starts falling out. And then they have this rash all over, right? That is the second stage of syphilis, or secondary syphilis. Then after that stage, these symptoms eventually may go away. And then you have tertiary syphilis, which usually doesn't have any symptoms that you could see, but it could cause damage to all of your internal organs, right? And that could lead to your death untimely. Or it could spread to your brain, something we call neurosyphilis. And then you have signs like if you have a stroke, but it's not really a stroke from the traditional sense of a stroke, but it's really the SCI spread to your brain. So some people go blind from syphilis. Some people have strokes from syphilis or symptoms like a stroke from syphilis as well, right? Syphilis could also spread to your baby. So if you think you may contract syphilis now, and then later in life, you are trying to have a baby, and every time you get pregnant, you're having a miscarriage, like you're not able to carry the baby to term. That one of the causes could be syphilis, that is untreated. Or for some people, their babies are born dead. Some people, their babies are born early. Some people, their babies are born with deformities. Some people, babies die soon after birth, right? All of these things could happen from an untreated syphilis infection. So I'll move on to the last infection that I'll talk about today. And this one is trichomoniasis, or Trichomonas vaginalis. Now, there's no picture here. There's just a diagram. So trichomoniasis is caused by Trichomonas vaginalis. This is a parasite. So this parasite lives under the foreskin or inside the penis of the male, but men have no symptoms, right? So for the male, most of the times they have no symptoms. Very rarely they may tell you they have a little itching or a little irritation or some burning or a discharge, but those things are very rare. Most of the times they have no symptoms. And the female, when they contract it, they tend to have a discharge that is white and frothy, right? So if you look at the next slide, this is the inside of someone's vagina. And if you look there, you can see a white frothy discharge, right? That's what happens with trichomoniasis. I come back. You all need to see it, right? So, trichomoniasis, it usually causes in females an itchy, burny sensation inside the vagina. Some of the females that come usually tell us they feel like something moving inside of there. They feel something moving in there, right? They also have a discharge that is often very thin. It could be clear, white, yellowish, or grayish, sometimes a little greenish. But usually they also complain, or occasionally they also complain of having a fishy scent from their vagina, right? That's usually also a symptom that they notice. So, I'm not going to do any more STIs, but just generally from this information, what do I want you all to know? So, you said never have sex in their life? So we're going to be realistic, right? The thing is, I know Miss Graham would have let me know that you all will be talking about emotional intelligence, right? Now, the thing about it is, you need information to make right decisions. And because I see a lot of young persons coming to me on a daily basis who do not have this information, and then they make decisions that have to stay with them for the rest of their lives, I want to arm you with the information so that you make right decisions so you don't have to deal with these things for the rest of your life. Now, a lot of times when I sit down and talk to patients, they will say, nobody never tell me this. How come we don't know this? Nobody does talk about these things. Because generally we feel sex and sex education is very taboo. Like nobody wants to talk about it. But persons are having sex. The fact that all of you all are here today means somebody had sex, right? Because you all are here. So people are having sex. You all need to know. You need to know this information so that you can make right choices. So, what can you do to prevent yourself from getting STIs? So there's no way you could get an STI if you don't have sex. We know that, right? So the key is to... No, well, I can't tell you the key is to never have sex. You're going to grow older, you're going to get married, right? But at the same time, you cannot get a STI if you don't engage in sexual behavior. And the thing is, a lot of students who come like to say, but I never really had sex, but oral sex is sex as well, right? You can't get STIs through oral sex. You could have gonorrhea infection in your throat, and it could spread to the person you are having oral intercourse with. All of these STIs can be spread through sexual intercourse, right? So, my aim this evening was to inform you all about these STIs so that you all can make an informed decision. So I don't have to see any of you all in the clinic coming for treatment, or if you have symptoms, do come to get treatment. So if you have any of these symptoms and you want to know where you could go, we have 2 main clinics in Trinidad. We have one in the Port of Spain General Hospital. You have to come with a parent or guardian if you are under the age of 18. So you get your parent or guardian to come with you so you could get testing. You have one in Port of Spain General Hospital, and there's one in San Fernando General Hospital, right? Another thing is HPV, one of the STIs that I spoke to you all about before. It's, as I said, it's caused by a virus, and we know viruses have no cure. That one, there's actually a vaccine to prevent you from getting the common strains of HPV. You can talk to your parents about receiving the vaccine. There's a lot of misinformation as far as that is concerned, but have a discussion with your parents, because at the end of the day, when you have these things growing on your penis or vagina, or you end up with cervical cancer, it's a disease that you could have prevented if you would have simply gotten the vaccine before you had any kind of sexual exposure, right? So I hope you all, and my aim is not to scare you all with the pictures, but no, it wasn't. But it's just so that you all could be informed, because really and truly, it is on my heart. I am seeing a lot, and your school is not exempt. I will just say that. I am seeing a lot of people coming to our clinics, young children coming to our clinics on a daily basis, 15, 16, 17, to get treatment for STIs. Some of them have cures, and they could go away and they could be fine, but a lot of them don't. So you need to be informed so you can make wise and intelligent decisions as it comes to sex. And that's the end of my presentation.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Hippolyte, for that interesting but very informal, that is the wrong word, very informative, thank you. You all are students, right? Informative presentation. Let us stand. We will have the closing prayer. Okay, dear Heavenly Father, dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for bringing us here to chapel, and I thank you for all the information that we learn. As we go back down to school, I hope that we do not forget it, or we are not frightened, but we learn how to be safe or to ask questions that is needed to ask, dear Lord. We also ask you to be with us as we continue to this day. Let us all be obedient children as we go to class. And just let me pray, amen. Y'all can have your seats. And we are calling Dr. Hippolyte back. We have a token for you.
On behalf of 1C and of CUC, we'd like to present you with this token of appreciation. You're welcome.
Morning, everyone. So let me also take the opportunity to say thanks very much to Dr. Hippolyte, another past student of CUC Secondary who did an excellent presentation this morning. Very, very informative presentation. And also thanks to our 1C teachers and students for your role in chapel this morning. You know what was very interesting to me when I was standing on this side there? Dr. Hippolyte, when you talked about the was it the secondary symptoms of syphilis with the black dots and they had the amount of students I saw start watching their hand when you was there. I'm like, what is this really going on up inside there? All I'm wondering with is always be getting on with, because if we talking about secondary symptoms of syphilis being black dots in your hand, if you know you ain't doing nothing, you have no dots to look for. You have no dots to look for, right? If you know you ain't doing nothing, you have no dots. So when I see people start watching their hand, I was like, what trouble is this up here? A whole section, you know. I wouldn't call any names, but I was seeing people even in the dark. All I thought I wasn't seeing. Any of you all have any questions you all want to ask? No, seriously, we could facilitate about 5 minutes. If you all really have some pressing question, you all don't want to ask it publicly. You prefer to ask it privately. All right. Well, you know where to find. You know where to find Dr. Hippolyte. All right. Yeah, but as she would have said toward the end, I said it to some students down to the back, because one young man in particular was trying to use the school tie as a blindfold when some of the images were going up. And I had to tell him, don't block your eyes, look, see. Knowledge is power. No, it's not about trying to scare you. If you know, and that was the point that was being made down to the end. You will tend to be more intelligent in the decisions that we make. All right, so that being said, I want to call Mr. Joseph and Ms. Batson. At this time, we have some students who represented the school in a Caribbean awareness quiz last week, Monday, and we have some prizes here for them. So we want to invite those students to come forward. You all know the names much better than I do, so I'm going to ask you all to just call the names and we'll invite them to come forward to collect their prizes.
All right, so Enrique Knights of 1A, Julius Barrington of 1C,
Kamalia Grant of 2A, congratulations on your efforts, students. You did well. Represented 2A, 1C, and 1A from CUC at the highest level. We dominated the competition in the beginning. Even though we did not conquer the competition, we were a force to be reckoned with, and we congratulate you. Thank you for representing CUC. Each student will now receive a tablet from the South Caribbean Conference. Congratulations again, and thank you for your service.
All right, and we want to say thanks very much to Mr. Joseph and Ms. Batson, who were instrumental. All right. Okay. All right, so I want to also say thanks to Mr. Joseph and Ms. Batson, who were instrumental in preparing the students for that competition. We also had some students who represented the school at debate a couple of weeks ago, National Energy, I'm missing the C. Where are those students? The students who represented the school. Come, guys, let's acknowledge you. We were supposed to introduce this team. The day before they went out. Unfortunately, there was a little miscommunication and we were not able to do that. And come, guys, you all represented your school, and we want to congratulate all the students who represent their school in anything. That is good. What is that? I don't understand that. Listen to me. Form 1, 2, and 3. Wait. Listen. Forms 1, 2, and 3, right? Because these Form 4 students who represented the school at this thing. Forms 1, Form 2, and Form 3, when you all represent the school and you all ask to come up front here for the school to recognize you, don't behave like them Form 4s and them. Right? Do not behave like them. Right? Because, I mean, you're representing your school in something good. That is something to be proud about, I would think. You understand? You're getting the opportunity to be out there and to represent. This thing was televised as a matter of fact. I am very disappointed in you all. Let me say that. Very disappointed. No, I am. I really am. Because this is, and you know, let me tell you all something. One of the things that we all need to understand, right? And this is why we keep making the point. This is why we keep making the point. There's a certain kind of pride that people have when they identify with something. And you know, it's always interesting. It's always interesting when we have like athletes and teams and so on representing the country. They could come last in whatever they're doing, but there's a pride when you put on the national colors to represent what is yours, right? So, I mean, you're all making me question if ever again I'm going to allow any of you all to represent the school in anything, because like you all not proud of. Yeah, because let me ask you all a question. If you all won the competition, let me ask this question, because these are real questions right now. If you all won this competition and we had because I saw the prize given last night with I wouldn't call the name of the schools, right? The top 4 schools in the competition receiving the prize on television. If you all had won the competition, all would have ducked the people presentation ceremony. Let me ask all of that question. You all would have ducked the presentation ceremony? Or you all would have gone? Because here what it is, I would have tell them. See that they don't want to come to represent, to collect, for the presentation ceremony, then wherever it is they were supposed to get, we will take it instead. Because... I want you all to understand the mentality I'm talking about here. Right? And I know all are feeling bad right now because I want all to feel bad. Right? It's ridiculousness that you all can't stand up to allow the school to acknowledge you all representing them in a national competition. I am ashamed of you all. Right? I am ashamed of you all. And this streaming, so it on YouTube. Right? This is streaming, so it on YouTube. I am ashamed of you all. Right? You all should be ashamed of yourself. Right? So thanks very much to the Form 1s and Form 2 who came up with pride to accept your recognition from the conference for what you did. Right? We will end recognizing them for being proud of what they did. Right? Thank you all very much. Right? Come, miss.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just want to give you some information for those persons who registered to be in the peer counselors training. I need to meet with you all today at lunchtime. So we'll meet downstairs just where the lounge area is, student lounge area. We'll meet there. And if anybody needs to see Dr. Hippolyte, immediately after, she will remain for about half an hour to an hour so that you get permission from your teacher and you can see her if you have some questions you want to ask. Okay, so she's going to give us that time.